Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, a very, very, very pleasant, good Sunday evening to each and every one of you, wherever you are in this world. Once again, we are live from Brooklyn, New York. On this presentation of our podcast this evening, my thesis is entitled Perpetual Dysfunction, because once again, we continue to exhibit, and I must say this with a great deal of lamentation, we continue to exhibit an unhealthy proclivity for dysfunction. And I'm going to present to you a few reasons and a few examples as to why. As always, I'm your man, Yosef X, and I welcome you back to another podcast presentation of Yosef's 2 cents. Sit back, unwind, and relax, and let us do what we always do, and that is sit down and reason together. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few moments. All right, y'all. We're back. And for those of y'all that are just coming in, thank you so much for joining me again on this evening. Brother Barron, Brother Sam, Giselle, Berlene, what's going on? Thank you all so much for joining us again. I hope your Sunday evening is going well. And I want to give a shout out to all of my listeners on Spotify in the United States, Australia, Germany, and India. Shout out to all of y'all. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Erlene, I hope you feel better soon. I know you've been going through a lot. And for those of you that are listening on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. On Facebook, like, share, and tag your family and your friends. Let's get this word out and let's get to work. I want to talk about, again, perpetual dysfunction. Why do I want to talk about perpetual dysfunction? Because I want all of us to be reminded of something. Whether you're listening on Spotify or you're listening on Facebook or YouTube, wherever you're listening, whatever platform you're listening on, wherever you're listening to in the world, wherever. Once again, we are confronted with a very, very sad and a very dark, dark truth. That dark truth that we are all confronted with and we are all reminded of is, once again, just how weaponized all of us are in the world. I guarantee you, once again, I guarantee you, hold on a minute. All right, my apologies for that, y'all. The Rugrats over here again. I had to make sure they straighten. But once again, I want to pinpoint to y'all that perpetual dysfunction continues to abide. And what I'm getting ready to share with you is a few, 2 to 3 examples, a few examples. The first example is the actor, Jonathan Majors, was recently arrested right here in New York for allegedly assaulting a woman. Google Jonathan Majors arrest. I'm pulling this up deliberately on YouTube because I'm going somewhere with this tonight. Okay. It says here, according to the Los Angeles Times, that Jonathan Majors, the actor in, I believe in Creed 3, who also co-stars with Michael B. Jordan. Jonathan Majors was arrested on charges of strangulation and assault in New York City. Allow me to read briefly what the Los Angeles Times has reported. It says, quote, actor Jonathan Majors, who has won acclaim for a string of Hollywood hits, was arrested Saturday on charges of assault, strangulation, and harassment involving a woman in a New York apartment. New York City police responded to a 911 call from an apartment near West 22nd Street and 8th Avenue at about 11:14 a.m. and determined that Majors was involved in a, in quotes, domestic dispute with a 30-year-old woman, according to a police statement. The woman, who told police she was assaulted, was taken to a local hospital with minor injuries to her head and neck, and is in stable condition. Police placed Majors, 33, in custody without incident, the statement said. Prior Tollery, an attorney representing Majors, denied any wrongdoing. She says, quote, Jonathan Majors is completely innocent and is probably the victim of an altercation with a woman he knows. We are quickly gathering and presenting evidence to the district attorney with the expectation that all charges will be dropped imminently, end quote. Chaudhry said they plan to present video footage from the vehicle where this episode took place, along with witness testimony from the driver and others who both saw and heard the incident. Quote, all the evidence proves that Mr. Majors is entirely innocent and did not assault her whatsoever. Unfortunately, this incident came about because this woman was having an emotional crisis for which she was taken to a hospital yesterday. In recent years, Majors' career has taken off with a succession of highly acclaimed performances. His credits include The Last Black Man in San Francisco in 2019, Spike Lee's The Five Bloods in 2020, his Emmy-nominated work in HBO's horror series Lovecraft Country, and Marvel's Loki as He Who Remains. He also led the ensemble for Netflix's all-black Western, The Harder They Fall, in 2021. In two recent releases, Major stars as uber villain Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and as Michael B. Jordan's adversary, Dame Anderson in Creed 3, end quote. Let's see who else has just joined us. J. Cole, what's going on, bro, on the Facebook side? Thanks for joining us tonight. There's a reason why. There is a reason why I have that on the screen. And I'm using that as my my avatar. There's a reason for it. Now, what we have here is once again a man who is well known, a young man at that, a young man who was well known, well respected, in his field of acting. I just gave you a brief synopsis of the acting credits that he has. Okay. You all have heard me tell you time and time and time and time and time again. To be a man is the ultimate crime in this country and abroad. Point blank, period. There is so much penis envy. It is absolutely heinous. You can't be a man in this day and age. You can't do it. Especially if you are a well-known and well-respected man who has resources. I can't bear witness to what's going on in your hearts and in your minds, but I can tell you what's going on with me. Before I do, let me get to some of your comments. Brother Barron says he's going to prison. I hope not. I hope not. I hope not. Because that's really the last thing that needs to happen. That's the last thing that we really need to see. Especially if that man is truly innocent of any and all wrongdoings. J. Cole says, as soon as a black man moves up, they try to take him down immediately. And Brother Sam on the on the YouTube side, he says, I hope he don't get charged. I hope not either. I hope not either. And see, the reason why I'm using that avatar tonight is because that avatar is symbolic of the toxic females that wants to see or wants to continue to see the family nucleus destroyed. Now, you got a lot of struggle bots that look like that in the face in real life, but you also have a lot of disfigured women on the inside. This is a matter of public record, according to these American feminists. They don't care if a man is innocent of any wrongdoing or not. Their objective is to take them down and to take them out. And this is a matter of public record. I kid you not. Now, I'm going to share with you in a few moments because here's the deal. The deal is this. And somebody just tagged me. Let me pull it up. Because there was a woman that killed her husband in Mississippi. As a matter of fact, I was tagged in this status It says, according to the heading on this live feed, according to Miss Lisa Nelson Mason, excuse me, Miss Lisa Nelson Mason, excuse me, says the heading says, quote, in Columbus, Mississippi, a woman is charged for the shooting and killing of her husband on Facebook Live. The shooting happened yesterday, at 7:30 a.m. Khadijah Brown, 28, and her husband, Jeremy Brown, had been seen arguing, most of the night. In the live footage, Jeremy Brown was trying to leave the apartment and defuse the situation before being shot. Khadijah is charged with second-degree murder. Let's see who just joined us. Hey, Marcus, what's going on, bro? On the YouTube side. Peace and blessings upon you as well, man. Happy to have you with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, do you understand why there are more men that's either walking away from relationships or they're leaving the United States or whatever the case is? Now, say whatever you want to say about the Passport Bros. You can say whatever you want about them, but the fact on this platform tonight, the behavioral patterns when it comes down to the actor Jonathan Majors being arrested, as well as this female shooting and killing her husband. Understand something. All of this has to do with genetics. People act and people behave their genetics. You can't get around it. J. Cole says a lot of black women were laughing at Jonathan Majors for getting arrested. And these same females told him he isn't attractive because he looks like a slave. J. Cole, do you understand why now I got the avatar up on the screen, bro? And you're right, Earlene. She says it's a shame. It is a shame. It's a disgrace. You understand? It's a disgrace. I'm going to tell you all again, ladies and gentlemen. People act their genetics. Point blank, period. People act their genetics. Hey, Carolyn, what's going on? Thanks for joining us tonight. Long time no see. Happy to have you with us tonight. Good to see you. On the YouTube side, Mr. Marcus Allen says, quote, it's a damn shame that black men get some power and BS happen far too many times. Listen, you're spot on. But I'm going to say it again. The reason why it happens like this, folks, is because people act their genetics. I can't stress that enough. People will act their genetics. Giselle says on the Facebook side, quote, these women are sprouting in the spring and the devil comes in peace with confusion in mental stability. I'll say again. People act their genetics. You can't get around it. People act their genetics, folks. I can't stress this enough. People are the byproducts of dysgenic breeding. Listen to me carefully, because I'm going to teach you something again. Now, for those of you that knows about the science and the idiosyncrasies of sex and relationship, this is where it comes into play. For those of you that never heard this before, get your pens and your pads and your pencils out, because you need to learn this. Okay? You got to learn this. And not only have you got to study this and learn this, but you got to accept it. People act their genetics. Shout out to my homeboy, Juan Rich. One of the greatest minds that I have ever ran across. Let's see. Brother Sam on the YouTube side says, this situation is all over the country, sadly. J. Cole on the Facebook side says, the devil comes in forms of an attractive man or woman just to ruin your life. That's on the spiritual side, because everybody don't belong to the Most High, folks. Everybody don't belong to the Most High. Period. Oh, and here's another example too. Tyrese and his girlfriend was on a live just recently. And this disrespectful young woman, for lack of a better word, is going to say initially that she wasn't even interested in Tyrese. She was interested in the late Paul Walker. I'm going to tell you again. Number one, everybody don't belong to the Most High. Number two, most people are dysgenically bred. Plain and simple. Plain, pure, and simple. Erlene says, yes, bro, say that everybody is not of Yah. No, they're not. Everybody don't belong to the Most High. J. Cole says, I would have dumped her immediately if my girl ever says some crap like this. You ain't the only one. Giselle says, yes, and Tyrese is so miserable with himself. Listen, all of the examples that I just presented to you, from Jonathan Majors being arrested to the Tyrese Gibson and his girlfriend being way out of pocket, to this woman in Columbus, Mississippi, shooting and killing her husband. I'm going to teach you all some science. Now, there's very few of you that knows this, but others don't. But don't worry, I'm going to come in. And I'm going to teach y'all this. J. Cole says, sad she's attracted to a dead white man more than her own man. It's genetic, bruh. It's genetic. You have to remember, and you have to realize, people act their genetics. Plain and simple. Y'all, and before I get into it, y'all like the video, share the video, tag your family and your friends. donate to the cause. My CashAppID here in the United States is $Hidden1Truth. That's $Hidden1Truth. If you are tuning in on the YouTube side and you have not subscribed to the channel, like, share, and subscribe on your way in. Erlene says, you got to love yourself first before you can love someone else. See, that's true, but you also have to have respect for self. If you don't have any respect for self, you're not going to love yourself. Plain and simple. Brother Marcus on the YouTube side says, but I do believe science and genetics plays a huge part in people's behavior and actions. Point blank, period. Yes, it does. And I'm going to get into it in just a few moments. J. Cole says, I think you should make a book called People Act Their Genetics. It would be a hit seller. I think it would be a hit seller only among those who get it. Now, if people don't get it, well, they're just going to be out in the cold. Nadi, what's going on? Thanks for joining us. Peace and blessings upon you. Erlene says on the Facebook side, I agree with that, bro. Respect is everything. It sure is. You got to respect self before you can have somebody else respect you. My homeboy, Brother Warren Rich, shout out to you, sir. And I'm going to bring him back on this platform too. So just stay tuned because I'm going to bring him back on. He says, quote, stop blaming the environment that people was raised in for their bad behavior when it is really their what? Genetics. If they act a fool online or off, then it is because of genetics. Is she late all the time? Is he confused about his gender? Does she constantly say slick mess out of her mouth to you, yet not her white boss? All of these are because of genetics. All these people graduated the basic American school system, so they have been socialized to behave. So why aren't they? It is because of their genetics. To their genetics, it is normal to act this way, and you are the villain if you don't accept it because it feels natural to them to act this way. That is due to genetics. Bad behavior isn't due to the environment as much as it is due to these people having one or two parents that have self-sabotaging genetics. And if you engage, then it will affect you, what? Epigenetically. These people are like that due to their genetics, not due to their environment. Even hood folks don't cuss out their white bosses, so they know right from wrong. Know the difference between those with genetics that build friendships, romantic relationships, and empires versus those genetics who can't socialize with the opposite sex or women in their family, can't seem to keep men for long. All of this behavior is genetic. See? Excuse me. Let's see. Brother Barron says, I always say that. Yeah, man. Yeah, you and me both. Brother Marcus says, it's called self-respect for a reason. Yes, sir. J. Cole says, I guess black women just randomly twerking on social media is because of genetics, and they pass on those genetics to their children. There you go. Now you get it. Brother Barron says, you right about that. Yeah, man. Yes, sir. Definitely. Definitely. It is all genetics, folks. It's genetic. It is all genetics. I'm also quote my homeboy, Mr. Warren Rich, on this. He says, quote, again, says, quote, environment can epigenetic environments can epigenetically shut on and off certain genes, but it cannot change genetic proclivities deep seated in one's genome. In one's genome. Most problems that people have stems have stems not from them being evil, but from their genetics. When the TV show on Netflix called Dahmer came out, everyone watched it and made the correlation that his mother was legitimately crazy and his father was a weirdo who liked connecting roadkill. But when it comes to themselves and their children, that isn't genetics. I am all for rehabilitation and teaching folks new things, but these folks have to have the genetic proclivities of intelligence and adaptability. End quote. Shout out to my man, James Moore. He says, quote, the human body has so much going on inside that most people don't understand. Thanks to modern science for solving much of this and allows us to be able to study human behavior through genes and other genetics that's family related. See? Now, excuse me. Giselle says bipolar. That's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons. Okay. That's one of the reasons. Now, look, I'm getting ready to share something with you. Yes, they're genotype. Yes, they're genotype. Thank you. They're genotype. Yes. Now, they're not going to teach you this at all, especially in these schools. They ain't going to teach you this, but I'm going to teach you this tonight. All right. Here's the deal. Now, I want you to listen carefully. Giselle, you're spot on, but I'm going to be more technical about it. She says, I believe when a woman has had different spirits in her body, it transfers to the child's bloodstream. I'm going to get into that right now. All right. Because once again, there's just a lot of people that just don't get it. They just don't understand it. All right. Now listen to this. Let's talk about when a man ejaculates inside of a woman, shall we? Now here's something that you don't know. You may or may not know about semen. Semen is made up of cerebral spinal fluid, CSF, cerebral spinal fluid. When any man ejaculates inside of a woman, that man is essentially transferring his brain or his thoughts to you, the woman. You know what that's called? That's called the horizontal gene transfer. Okay? That's what that means. That's what that is. When any man ejaculates inside of a woman, he's essentially transferring his brain or his thoughts to the woman. That's called the horizontal gene transfer, the HGT. It explains two things. One, this explains why most females pick up the traits of the men they have had intercourse with. And number two, this is also why some couples start looking alike. Notice, if you will, how most women will start talking, acting, and looking like their mates not long after having sexual intercourse. This also explains the growing number of diagnoses of bipolar disorder and why children have personality disorders. Because they have random DNA flowing through the woman. See? Think about it. Think about it. And because when a man ejaculates in a woman with his semen, that's cerebral spinal fluid, that man is transferring his thoughts into the woman. And when that man transfers his thoughts into the woman, that's called the horizontal gene transfer. But what makes it so bad is when that man is doing that, most times he is the byproduct of an inferior gene. See? And this is also one of the reasons why having a healthy diet is so important. Not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. You have also heard me explain to you that your mind and your heart and your emotions, right? They are gardens. Because whatever you listen to, whatever you watch, that can either serve as water, healthy fertilizer, or it can be toxinous, it can be toxic, and it can be poisonous and disastrous. So everything that I just read off to you from one of my past podcasts, and me quoting my homeboy, Mr. Juan Rich, those three examples that I gave you, Jonathan Majors being arrested, Tyrese's girlfriend disrespecting him, that woman shooting her husband in Mississippi. Folks, it's genetic. It's genetic. J. Cole says, yep, the semen left over from previous partners transfers to the child. That's why these kids have mental issues and become violent at a young age. Whatever spirit that man carries is hosted in the woman forever. Virtually some of the same thing that Giselle is saying. The fact is, we just delve deeper and more scientifically speaking to what Giselle and J. Cole spoke on. J. Cole also says, oh, there's a minister of wellness that made a documentary that says the main reason why there's violence in the Black community, mainly because of the junk food they eat, and it's messing up their genetics. Interesting theory. I'll have to do more research. Well, so here again. It's all genetic, and it's also, we also have to recognize that we are living in a weaponized culture, a weaponized society. So we have to learn to maneuver our way around this. See? Think about it, y'all. See, whenever you have scenarios and situations like the three examples I just gave, this is the byproduct of people being dysgenically bred. It's unfortunate, it's sad, but this is what happens. This is it. When you find yourself in a situation where you know for a fact that it's weaponized, the society, I mean, is weaponized against you, everything from the food you eat, the water you drink, the music you listen to, this is the end result. And this also lets me know that the majority of the masses of people do not have situational awareness and deductive reasoning skills. Because if they did, we would not be having a discussion of this magnitude tonight. Instead, I'd be telling you who my top 10 comedians are, my top 10 favorite comedians are. But unfortunately, here we are. Mr. Marcus says, so this why the Most High was talking about what he means. So this is why the Most High was talking about what he means, no sex and celibacy before marriage. That, and among other reasons too. See, I'm just giving y'all a brief synopsis of all of this. I'm just giving y'all a brief synopsis of this. Because there's so much to this, you know what I mean? And to try to, give this to y'all in one fell swoop in an hour and a half's time, I can't do it. I'm just giving y'all the most important facts. See? Giselle says, I was keeping it clean because I was told my soul cleaned. I was told I needed my soul clean. See, let me say this right quick. Now, Giselle, I don't know who told you that you needed your soul cleansed. I don't know who told you that, but whoever told you that, I don't know why the hell they would tell you that in the first place. I really don't. Because how in the hell is anybody going to tell you that you need your soul cleansed? And the same people and the same person or persons that told you this, they didn't even bother looking at themselves. But they're too busy examining you when they need to be examining themselves. I don't understand how people think that they can play the role of the Almighty like they know you. Like you kidding me right now? Like seriously, really? You mean to tell me that people are going to be that doggone foolish and think that they know you better than you know it? Nah, nah. I'm telling you right now, that irritates me. Like seriously. Why am I not surprised? Brother Barron says that's right. Erlene says, folks be crazy as hell. She continues, hypocrisy at its finest. A robe for what? Let's see. Giselle says, a lady at the visiting church tried to give me a robe to put on. I didn't accept. Why the hell was she trying to get? Why? Why? Man, I tell you, man, you know what? Church folk are some of the dumbest ass folk in the world. I'm telling y'all, church folk are some of the dumbest ass people in the world. They really are. Like, they just do and say anything. Oh, you need a robe. For what? Why? Like, sincerely, why? Come on. No wonder people walking away from the church. Erlene says, people told me that before too. I was called the devil and should be dead. People are insane. Yeah, that's why the church has lost, for the most part. That's why the church has lost its power and people have lost all respect for the church. Point blank, period. Giselle says, a choir robe. She said my dress was showing too much body, so I and my team left after we sung our two songs. See, first of all, here's the deal. Whoever that heifer was, that wasn't her damn business. That wasn't the time or the place. Man, oh boy. Church folk, I tell you, boy. Lord have mercy. I tell you. Listen, y'all, this is what we going to do right quick. All right. Let me read my boy J. Cole's observation when I says, quote, that's why I don't go to the Christian church anymore. They think they're holier than thou, and they think they serve God, but they serve the devil. And Erlene says, Jason Cole, yeah, facts. Yeah. Here's the deal. And see, Christians don't even know anything about their religion. They don't know the history. See, they don't even know the history of their own religion. of their own denomination, I should say. They don't know their religion, the history of their religion, let alone their denomination. But guess who does? Me. I do. Nadia says, see, if I was there, Lord knows. See, Nadia, if you were there, you would have gotten the fist fighting, and Brother Barron wouldn't be on here, listening to me tonight because he'd be too busy bailing you out of jail. I understand your frustration. I do. So it was a good thing that you were not there, ma'am. It really was. The Most High always knows what he's doing. Always. All right, this is what we're going to do, y'all. It's 27 minutes past the hour of 8 o'clock. So what we're going to do right now is take a brief intermission. All right. We're going to take a brief intermission. And when we come back, we're going to continue on our dialogue about all of these dysgenically bred folk that's going on in the world. All right. J. Cole says Christianity was created by the Roman Constantine in Rome. They served pagan gods on the side and mixed it up with the true gospel. Christianity, in a nutshell, like J. Cole is saying, it is a hybrid. It's a mixture of facts and fantasy. That's really what he's saying. All right. We're going to come back in about minutes, and we're going to continue on our discussion. For those of you that are just tuning in, like the video, share the video, and subscribe on YouTube, on Facebook. Like, share, and tag your family and your friends. My Cash App ID is $Hidden One Truth. That's $Hidden One Truth in the United States. I'm Yosef X. This is my 2 cents. We'll be back in a moment. All right, y'all. We're back. Welcome y'all back again to another podcast presentation of Yosef's 2 cents. I'm your man, Yosef X, and tonight we're talking about the perpetual dysfunction among men and women. See, here's something else that not a lot of people realize. Did you know that the reason why melanated women in this country have been abusing and disrespecting melanated men is because that mindset dates all the way back to slavery? It's true. See, here's the deal. Shout out to the angry man, Valdez. And you can check this out. You can look this up. It's in the library. It's in the United States Library of Congress. Melanated women back during slavery. A lot of them were the mistresses of the slave masters. And so when the slave master's wife passed away, the black mistress of the slave masters was automatically written in his will. You can look this up. You can look this up. Oh, yeah. You can look this up. The slave master, when he was on his deathbed, he wrote his black mistress in his will. So when he passed away, guess what? The melanated woman, or the mistress of the slave master, guess what? She ran and she owned that plantation. So melanated women owned slaves. And because they owned slaves back then, a lot of these same toxic women never looked at a melanated man like a man. She only sees him still as a slave. Look this up. Look up in the United States Library of Congress. That when the slave master died, his black mistress owned everything. Look it up. This is history. And so that mindset that a lot of these melanated women have, when they look at you, when they look at me, they don't see men. They think they still own us. That's why they look at us as slaves. You feel me? Look this up. Brother Sam says, I read that milestone. Yeah. That's very, very disturbing. And when Valdez was telling us this on his podcast, I went from having a moment of being in chill mode, just relaxing, doing whatever it was that I was doing, just chilling and relaxing and, doing what I was doing. But I was in chill mode, getting things done, whatever it was that I was doing. I went from being in chill mode to being in absolute anger. I'm telling you, and the way he broke that down, the psychological apparatus, right, of these women back in the day, back during slavery, back during the era of slavery. It transmuted into the psychological apparatus and the hygiene of the modern day melanated woman. Nadia says, I learned that in college. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm going to tell y'all something. A lot of this stuff that I'm learning now, they didn't teach this when I was coming along. They deliberately kept it hid. They kept it hid from us. Some of the same things that I'm sharing with y'all right now, guess what? That I'm just learning. They didn't teach this in high school. They didn't teach this in high school. They didn't teach this in junior high school. They didn't do it. They didn't even teach this in college when I was going to college. They didn't. It's the truth. And see, that's just another example of how people are literally, right? They are literally the byproducts of dysgenic breeding. And after hearing all of what I've been hearing, especially since 2016, because that's when my actual journey of beginning to unlearn everything that I was taught and really began to study to show myself approved and doing the research for myself. That's what I've been doing for these last, what, 6, 7, 8 years almost. So that's why whenever you hear somebody say, listen, man, you got to unlearn what you were taught and conduct your own private investigation and research. And nobody is going to do this for you. You got to do it for yourself. Plain, pure, and simple. Real talk. I ain't making this up just to hear myself bust my chops. Telling y'all the truth. So ever since then, there are very, very, very few people that I listen to. It's only a select few. Because here's the deal. The truth is out there, but we got to go and look and search for the truth ourselves. My journey began in 2016. Here it is, 2023. So that's about, actually this summer officially, it'll be about 7 years. Man, I tell you, time is flying. Good grief, boy. And ironically, I'll be 40 chronologically, August the 3rd. So I was around 32, 33 years old. But yeah, I'm going to say this, y'all, and I'm going to get on out of here because we got to go to work. Got to go to school, all that kind of thing. Here's the deal. Three examples that I presented to you tonight. And in addition to me reading off quotes from my homeboy, Mr. Warren Rich, Brother James Moore, and quoting myself from a past episode, right? But here's the thing. Because now, all of what I presented to you, hold on a minute. All right, I apologize. I had to, when these little rugrats start hollering like they being stabbed, and it really ain't that serious. So here's the deal. The fact is, folks, see, look, I'm not trying to present this like we're all of us are in some kind of a club. Y'all listen to me because you understand where I'm coming from. Y'all got to realize we are living in a weaponized society. Plain, pure, period. Plain, point blank, period. Plain, pure, and simple, period. We are in a weaponized society. We are. We're in a weaponized society. Everything from the food we eat, the music we listen to, from what we read, is weaponized, and it affects us epigenetically. There's no situational awareness. The majority of people are just doing things blindly. Whereas the minority of us, guess what? We're just careful and cautious. That's the truth. Point blank, period. It's the truth. So we know what the problems are. Here's the solutions to these problems. Number one, conduct your own research. Number two, be careful who you listen to. Number three, do it for yourself. Don't do it for anybody else. And you have to develop your own situational awareness and deductive reasoning skills because it's a muscle. Or it's like an exercise. It's a psychological exercise in order for you to become more aware. Because if you don't become more aware, the end result of it is going to be disastrous for all parties involved. And for the life of me, gentlemen, stop running off at your damn mouths so much. Dudes, run in silence. Move in silence. Silence is your best friend. I get so sick and tired of people talking about, well, I'm going to be a high value man. No, dummy, you're being a high value target. You're being a high value target. And then on top of that, y'all are still too doggone focused on the outside. If you're going to be a so-called high value man, how the hell you going to be high value, yet your behind still got high cholesterol? You eating all the wrong foods. How in the world you going to wear cologne and you can't even pronounce it? But yet you going around here and you living in a squalor. Come on, man. Move in silence. Move in silence. Stop letting everybody know what your moves are. Your business is not my business. We don't need to know what you got going on, player. Chill out with that. Relax. You're going to wind up just like Jonathan Majors. You're going to end up just like that poor fella that got shot and killed. And there's one more. I gave 3 examples. I gave 2 of them. Jonathan Majors was arrested. I hope he don't serve any time. Then that poor man that got shot in Columbus, Mississippi. And the passport bros. Passport bros need to be quiet. Passport bros need to move in silence, man. And I'm gonna say this too, and I'm gonna get out of here. The fact is, in all truth, in all sincerity, I don't condone violence at all. All right. I really don't. I do not condone violence at all. But the fact is, more and more men are going to drop this chain of inner restraints. And they're going to tap into their inner barbarian and their inner Viking. And they're going to start taking these females out and put them out of their misery. It's coming. Now they're going to try and keep it hush hush. And they're going to try and keep it quiet. But guess what? That ain't going to happen at all. They ain't going to, no. They're not, listen, all these violent and vicious females, they're going to start getting a taste of their own medication. It's coming. And the way things are happening, it may be happening sooner than soon. Because everything is starting to really accelerate at a very fast pace. There's going to be blood in the streets if we don't stop with the shenanigans. If these females don't stop with the shenanigans. And you jackass simps, stop boosting these toxic females' heads up, fool. It's the truth. It's the truth. And with that said, y'all, I rest my case. That's all I got for y'all, man. Stop running off at your mouths. Start moving in silence. You got to be smart about this, man. Silence is going to save your life. Not running off at your mouths. All right. Thank y'all for listening. I appreciate it. Hope y'all learned something tonight. Like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, on Facebook. Like, share, and tag your family and your friends. Donate to the cause if you enjoyed the podcast. In the United States, my Cash App ID is $Hidden One Truth. That's $Hidden One Truth. It's been a ball, but the clock on the wall says that's all for now. I'm Yosef X. That's been my 2 cents. I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Y'all have a good night. Peace. I'm out. Be safe out here.